The latest installment of Wargaming's updates this week is released today, and today's video is going to cover everything you need to know about the most recent update and the sort of things that you can keep your eye out for. Of course, one of the key things being the Type 80 Escalation Era Eastern Alliance medium tank. So this is of course following on the trend of the Chinese medium tanks that came into World of Tanks last week, and of course we've got a brand new one. This is of course the Era 2, so this is essentially a bit like the previous, and we've got the 55% bonus silver, which is the key kind of reason why you buy any of the Cold War premium tanks, other than the fact of maybe just testing them out and seeing how you like them, especially if you like the tech tree versions of the tanks. Then yeah, why not would you pick up one of these sort of tanks? But key thing about this tank, it does indeed have a kind of interesting matchup with regards to its speed limit. So we've got 65 kilometers an hour, so it's a fairly rapid medium tank. Now, is it the fastest tank in Cold War? Of course it's not. The armadillos in the game, but with some of the speed boost equipment that you can certainly put on this tank, it can really boost it up to the higher speeds that you're going to want to be seeing with any of these tanks, and therefore make it a little bit more competitive. And along with that, obviously you get the 460 alpha damage, slightly higher than the typical medium tanks within Era 2, and so yeah, you'll be able to slap them a little bit harder. However, not as hard as the 470 alpha that we had on the previous Chinese premium tank that's already in the game. So it's going to be a very, very interesting one. 7.5 rounds a minute, 8-second reload, probably get that down to about 6 seconds with all the improvements to DPM that you can actually put on this tank, and therefore you're going to see what this tank can really do in those kind of brawling engagements where you can just dish out that damage super quick against the opponents that you're going to be wanting to deal it with. And if you've played any of the Chinese mediums, you know exactly how this thing plays, and you essentially want to use it as kind of a very quick movement of the hull to bounce a few rounds whilst also dishing out that damage, as we talked about. However, 5 degrees of gun depression, as with the Chinese tanks, is pretty lackluster, and so you're probably not going to be the most versatile tank on the battlefield, but you will definitely be able to dish out damage against opponents that you select, rather than just every single opponent in the game. So make sure that, yeah, you are choosing the engagements that you're going to be fighting in, rather than just YOLOing at the opponents, because it's probably not going to end up very well. Now, we've covered kind of the key aspects of the tank, really. I mean, it has a quick reload, it's got good accuracy, and it's fast. What does the thing actually cost you, however, if you want to purchase this tank? Well, you're seeing already here 16.65 thousand gold. So this is a very expensive one if you want to purchase on day of release, which is today, and it will cost you that much, 16,650 gold. And then you can also pick up the kind of actual worth it version between the two if you want to pick it up on the day of release, and that will cost you 13,550. And the fully loaded bundle is the one that I always go with if I'm going to purchase a tank on release, because the Prime bundle basically just gives you a couple of equipment slots on the tank, and if you don't actually want the equipment that Wargaming have given you, then it's kind of pointless in the whole sense anyway. So yeah, make sure that you are actually picking the fully loaded version, then just actually grind out a couple games and be able to put on the equipment that you actually want on the tank, rather than the ones Wargaming pick for you, and they'll cost you 3,000 golds to do so. Of course, if you want to be a kind of one of those cheapskate players, or someone that doesn't want to whack like 40 quid on the game, then you'll probably want to wait until April 5th, where you can pick up the tank for 11,400, or if you want to wait a week and save yourself like 1,000 gold, you could basically pick up the Type 80 loaded bundle for 12,500. So you're essentially, if you wait 2 weeks, you're saving yourself 2,000 gold, but you are missing out on 30 days of premium, 20 times 2 vehicle XP boosters, and 24 times Commander's XP bonuses as well. So make sure that if you do want to pick up this tank, you're really going for the fully loaded bundle. It's probably the most bang for your buck, considering you get the premium time and the XP boosters, which are actually beneficial and will save you time, and it's probably only costing you like an extra £5 or something like that. You know, if you're spending that much on the game, you might as well actually get the best deal for your money. So yeah, make sure to see what you think of this tank in game. Let me know if it is broken in the comment section down below, and of course we'll move on to the next kind of bit of information information that we have regarding today. Now, we have, of course, got the brand new map. I say brand new, but it's a remastered map, as with all of the newest maps that Wargaming have reintroduced into the game, because, of course, they were all in the game previously, but then were removed in Update 6.0, Fiasco, etc. And that is Pearl River. So this is a map that is on, well, it is on the PC version of World of Tanks, so if you've seen any Pearl River gameplay, then you'll know exactly what this map plays like, and it is essentially it is the same map as PC have currently. They've actually remastered it so that it does have the town area in the middle of the map where you can go up into as well. So you'll be able to use that brand new kind of PC version of the map in console now, rather than the old console version where you basically had 3 lanes and that was completely it. You didn't have that extra area in the middle of the map that you could use. And not only that, there is a premium bonus. There's a tank trade-in event that's going to go on, and we'll get into that in a second. We've also got string theory. So this is one of the best times that you can use your actual playtime to grind through a ton of tech tree tanks, and I would recommend it beyond like belief. It really is unbelievably fast to grind through some of the tech trees, and if you have friends that are good at the game, or friends that are better than you in the game, or people that can guarantee you more wins, or alternatively, if you just want to play a load of games and hope that you win some games in a row, then string theory is amazing for grinding out XP. Of course, string theory, for those of you who don't know, is essentially if you string together multiple wins in a row, you get double, triple, quadruple, and 5 times XP for the amount of wins that you win. For example, if you win 2 games in a row, you'll get 2 times XP. If you win 3 games in a row, you'll win 3 times, and onwards up to 5 times. And then if you win the 6th game in a row, you won't get 6 times XP. You'll actually be capped at 5 times, but that will continue for as many games. You could be on 120 games in a row and still get that 5 times XP bonus every single time you win. Of course, if you lose, it then gets reset back to 0, so you're back to the standard XP rate, which, I mean, to be honest, even if you don't actually win any games in a row, you'll still be earning the same amount as you would normally. So it is a fantastic time to actually grind through, and if you can get a couple of wins on top of each other, then it really does help grinding through. I managed to grind through, I think, like the AT15 line all the way up to the AT15 in something like 70 games, because I was just playing the game and luckily managed to get a load of wins in a row. So it just tells you how quick this thing can be to be able to grind you through, and you could probably do even better. And especially if you put on ×5 XP boosters or any of the XP boosters on top, you can essentially get like a 10 times XP booster if you're on your 5 win streak and you're using a ×5 XP booster. Plus, remember, you also get 1.25 times the XP if you have completed the season as well, and if you have premium time, you'll get a 1.5 times XP bonus. So essentially you can get a monstrous amount of XP if you do play in this time and you're using all of the XP bonuses. I've seen results from just XP for the tank vehicle XP of like 30,000 XP in one singular game from having a fantastic game with all of the boosters, etc. So yeah, it can be amazing for grinding through some of those tech tree tanks. So be sure to kind of use that to your advantage. And of course, one thing I do want to mention is the tank trade-in event is something that I really do not like in the game. It is a topic that I feel like is very, very bad in terms of the economy, in terms of the only real reason you'd ever want this is if you foremarked a premium tank that you own, or you've just completely had enough of a premium tank that you already own and you really desperately want a premium tank that's in the tech tree, and so you trade in the tank that you previously had for another one for a little bit of a discount. And yeah, I'd rather just wait until the tank that I wanted came into a bundle for 60% off, and then you'd actually not have to trade in the tank that you already own and still get it at the same price. So just think of that when you're actually thinking about this tank trading event. It seems really good. It seems like you can get a load of gold for free, but you're still paying full price for the tank that you're choosing in the tank trade-in, and so it's not actually really a good deal in 90% of the times. And yeah, I don't really enjoy it anyway. Then, of course, we have the bundles where you can get the Type 80. You've also got Flanking Lessons, Precision Positioning, and Continental Vanguard. And the key ones that I want to kind of focus on in terms of the bundles this week are the Barracuda Emile 51, which is really, really good, and the 50 TP Prototype, which is another really, really good premium tanks. Both of them really good. Of course, then we have Precision Positioning, Kruppstair, Waffenträger, and the Poodle. Not particularly two very good tanks in the game. And then the Losers M4A2 Sherman and the A32 are pretty mediocre as well. So the real bundle that you'll be looking at is the Continental Vanguard. And then we also have the typical deals of the week, which are the 1.5 times silver boosters, 20 of them, probably for quite a bit of gold actually. And then 20 times 4 commanded XP boosters. And then the personal offers, we've got a few interesting ones, and that is the T32A Prototype and the KV122, the T95E3, not particularly super interesting to be honest in my personal opinion, but there we go. Hopefully you kind of got the gist of the bundles. We'll move on to one kind of recap of last week that happened. Of course, there's still the St. Patrick's Day event cards, and I want to talk about them now, which are, of course, the key cards, and there will be a video on key cards coming out this week, which you'll be able to have a look at on the channel if you make sure to subscribe, and you will be able to actually see whether or not key cards are worth it. I've got 20 to open for you guys on YouTube, and you can see what we actually managed to get from that. Of course, the lucky key cards, you have a 1% chance of getting a premium tank within them, so it's definitely not worth actually opening them in the hope that you will be able to get a premium tank, because there is only a 1% drop rate, meaning that if you wanted to get one on drop rate, if you wanted, the 1-in-1 chance, then you'd have to get 100 of these lucky key cards, all of which cost a pretty hefty price, and I think they're about $1.49 for one, which means that you will essentially be paying like $149 for the chance of getting a premium tank, and the premium tanks in them are pretty good, but they're not worth $149, and I guess if you really wanted 100 different commanders to be able to kind of grind them out and have all of these, then maybe it'd be worth it, but yeah, not in my personal opinion. Don't go using them as a way to get premium tanks, because it's terrible in terms of that. But there we go. Obviously we have a couple more things to talk about. We had the Type 89, the Type 63 HG, the WZ132 Model 3, all of the Cold War Chinese light tanks and tank destroyer that came into the game. Seems like the kind of higher tier vehicles aren't doing so well. The best one being the WZ132 Model 3 with a 56% win rate. Not that surprised, they're pretty niche. The armour doesn't really work too well, and I guess that's probably the reason why. Edelweiss has actually gone up to 53.35% win rate, a really good tank. Nameless, not so good. And of course, we've got 32,000 completions of the Red Tiger season, which is really, really good. That's mad. And of course, there are also recent fixes where we had the colour filters off within the game. I'm sure many of you will have known that. There's lots of different information here with regards to fixes. I'm not going to go through them all because that will just make the video insanely long. But yeah, that's basically it. And then of course we have the upcoming premium, the Type 80, like we talked about at the beginning, Pearl River coming back, the tank trade-in event with 95 plus tanks eligible for trading and 50 tanks eligible to trade up. So those are the tanks that you can actually get. String Theory's back, and the 4th week of the HMH T34 85M Earn Challenge is out as well. And the final thing within this video is the shout out to a couple of absolute tryhards within the game who've managed to complete over 90,000 battles, starting with 4 of them. I'm not going to shout out everyone, but yeah, if you're on this list, congratulations. And of course, there's 3 people right here with 100,000 plus battles this week, and one Mahogany Texas 79 with 110,000 battles, and the Big G Bow with 120,000 battles. That is just unbelievably ridiculous, the amount of battles you manage to play on World of Tanks console. I'm sure I would have bashed my head straight through my wall if I've managed to play 120,000 battles, because that is just an insane feat. Of course, then we have Big Feat's max damage dealt, which was 15,195 in the Type 59D and 16,716 damage in the Type 89 by ISA10 and Potsy 99. There we go, pretty mad results there. and someone's managed to travel 10,901 miles in the Type 63 HG. So there we go. And the final kind of hint for the upcoming updates is that there will be a new Tanks Reforged, which will be the Heavy Schnitzel hat-trick, which I'm assuming is the German heavies, which will be the Maus, the Panzer 7, and we'll also then be getting the E100 maybe buffed as well. I don't know if that's true. Maybe I got that completely wrong and I've gone with the wrong tech tree, but that's what I would assume by the next Tanks Reforged. Other than that, that is pretty much it for the week. If you did enjoy, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you're not already, and of course come back soon to have a look at some lucky keycards opening that we will be doing this week, and of course some reviews of the latest premium tanks, including the Type 80 this week, and last week's premium, the Type 59D, I think it was, that we'll also be having a look at as well. So make sure to kind of have a look at all of that, and we'll join you back in one of those videos coming soon. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week if you don't join me back this week, and I will see you there. Goodbye.